I'm Emma Willis, and this is the Strong in Your Skin series created in collaboration with Absolute Collagen. I'm going to be chatting to everyday people, hearing their incredible stories of strength, people who are feeling stronger in their own skin than ever before. In this episode of Strong in Your Skin, we are joined by the remarkable Liv Thorne. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
No problem.
You have a fascinating and inspiring and incredibly brave story, I think, because this is a story of motherhood via sperm donation.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, where do we even begin?
Don't
Let's start with what this is, and that is Strong in Your Own Skin, and what that means to you, and how do you feel strong in your skin?
So I feel strong in my skin now because I'm a mother. I think for years I knew that what I wanted to be was a mother.
Right.
And so everything was about that. All of my waking thoughts were about how I was going to become a mum and when it was going to happen and if it was going to happen. And so now I am a mum. That's where my strength comes from.
And at what age did you start having those feelings of? Because there's a very kind of cliched, stereotypical view of females, isn't there? That's all we dream of when we're little girls, of having a baby and marrying Prince Charming.
And annoyingly, I was that person.
I don't remember having those dreams of becoming a mum.
I really did.
It's not that I didn't want to be a mum.
No,
I just don't ever
it wasn't
remember
the
that being a thing.
I was an auntie from the age of 13.
Right.
So I think that I've always had kids in my life, and so I always just assumed that would be me next. Like I'd be coming next to have my child. And my brothers and sisters all met their life partners when they were about 14 or 15. Right. So by the time I was 16 and still single, even then I was like, oh God, what's happening? What's happening? Even my gran was like,
at the ripe old age of 16.
At 16, so it has always been there.
And are you the youngest of
your
siblings?
Of four,
right.
yes.
Okay.
So, I just sort of assumed what happens to them happens to you. And when it didn't, it just became a thing that I was like, oh God.
And what was it that led you to do something about it? As far as, what's like your relationship history?
There is no relationship history. Well, I had one rubbish relationship when I was about 20, 21. And like everyone's first love, it was lovely until it wasn't. But looking back, it was a very silly relationship. It was a young relationship.
But at the time,
completely.
If you're someone who
100%.
You thought you were going to be settled down by the age of 60.
The poor boy, I talked to him about it. I mean, no wonder we broke up pretty soon, because there I was really young going, I want children. Poor lad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't a big, we hadn't been together for 6 or 7 years and all that sort of stuff. We were together about a year. But my parents died when I was young. So my dad died when I was 12 and my mum died when I was 17. And then I split up with my boyfriend when I was 19 or 20. And I think I just got to the stage where I couldn't take any more. I was like, I'm done with people leaving, whether that be through death or relationships breaking up or whatever it was.
Which
and so
seems
that's
quite
why
a natural response,
100%.
really, when you
looking
consider
back now, 100%.
how much grief you experienced in really a very short amount of time.
And now that makes sense. Like now saying it to you, it's like, of course, and every time someone told me they were pregnant, I wanted to kick them in the shins, because I'm thrilled for you, of course I am, but I want to go home and cry because all I wanted was a baby. But to do that, I have to go through X, Y, and Z that I didn't want to put myself through. Because actually what I wanted was to become a mother, not to be a wife.
So what is the process?
So I went to Google sperm bank. I knew I wanted Danish sperm because there was more choice.
Right.
But then actually, did I want more choice? Because how do you choose? So initially I was looking at it as if it was Tinder. I was like, oh God, he sounds fun. Or, oh, he sleeps with his cat. Absolutely not. Just really weird. I was putting really weird caveats on these poor men who would have nothing to do with me or my child.
Okay, so you pick your sperm.
Yeah, so I picked my sperm.
How does it arrive?
I chose a clinic. I just felt nervous the whole time, but also really excited, a bit sort of as if you're going on a first date. It's that kind of excited but terrified nerves. I don't know how else to describe it. And so I got, I went and I'd made sure my nails were done beforehand, and I'd bought some nice underwear and all this, just mad stuff that I thought, I don't know what I thought. I constantly thought someone was going to jump out of a door and go, "Are you kidding? You can't do this, not you. Why do you think you're okay to have a kid on your own?" So I was constant, like I say, as if wearing nice pants would make it all fine, and that no one would say no, or I was going to get pregnant, and this lovely nurse was going to help me, and all this. Turns out it wasn't a lovely nurse. It's a smear test.
Right.
It is exactly the same as a smear test, and except for they say, "Is that the sperm you purchased?" And I'm like,
I hope
I have
so.
no idea. I got it sent to you. I hope you've all labelled it correctly, and you sign away, and then take your pants off, and we'll be in a minute.
And then when you leave?
You just leave. There's nothing. They don't say goodbye. Oh, well, you hand over a shed load of cash. And that's it. And again, I sort of thought it would be more, I don't know, it's such an amazing thing you're doing. You're trying to have a baby. And I kind of always, those adverts where there are sort of trumpeters behind people. And I sort of thought something amazing was going to happen. And no, I just got in the car and drove down Harley Street and back home. And nothing fun happened, and as it turns out, it wasn't successful.
And how did that hit you?
Hard. But I went into a shell and just, I'm fine. Of course I'm fine. I knew it wasn't going to happen. I'm fine. But I was, and
devastated.
Devastated completely, and
Did you ever think about not doing it again because of the pain that you felt?
Yeah, 100%, and questioning whether that was another sign that I shouldn't be doing this at all, and how arrogant of me to think that I could do this. And of course it wasn't going to work, and and after the third time I was like, no, I'm out, I'm done. So about 5 months later, I think it must have been, I did the last one. I just drove up to Harley Street in a strop. No
painted nails,
no new knickers, no hairbrushed, none of that. Just went in, walked out, because I knew the system by then. I knew they didn't care. I knew no one was going to say, "Hi Liv, good to see you," or "I'm so sorry it didn't work out," or
However,
ta-da!
How surprised were you when you did that pregnancy
Oh my God,
test?
madly surprised, because I genuinely had convinced myself that it wasn't going to work. And so I took the test because I was staying with my nieces, and they were like, "Isn't it your 2-week wait up?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I did it," and then forgot about it. Came down, I don't know, an hour later or something, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I did the test earlier," and looked, and it was like 3 weeks pregnant. And then there was just a lot of screaming.
I mean, it's overwhelming, isn't it?
It's bonkers.
But it's just the most incredible feeling. And again, after kind of all the heartbreak that you've been through throughout your life, how fantastic that worked out, and you now have this beautiful...
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Now, but I didn't feel that for the first 3 or 4 months at all.
Did you not?
No, not at all. And I really worried about it, obviously, because I was like, what have I done? Have I made a mistake?
I think that's a very normal
feeling. I know. But when you sort of gone against what people would say is a traditional route to parenthood, it's really scary to think that they might have been right.
When you met him, did it make you wonder more about the donor?
I do. I wonder about him as a person, not about how he looks so much.
Yeah.
Because Herb is my doppelganger, so the donor clearly just has a blank face. Like he's got no DNA, like nothing.
He has no characteristics.
Herb does just look exactly like I did when I was his age. But I think about the donor all the time, about whether he's a kind person, and he's an open donor, so Herb can get in contact with him when he's 18.
Okay.
Which is really important to me, because that's not my decision to take away from Herb.
Yeah.
He can contact him if he likes or not, or whatever. But that's Herb's decision.
And how have you chosen to tell Herb his story, or indeed just not tell him?
No, I have. Since he can understand, I've told him, and then I just change the language the older he gets, because it's really important. He isn't my dirty little secret. And so he's always known. He knows he doesn't have a dad, he has a donor, and that he can meet the donor.
What advice would you give to anyone watching this who is thinking about it?
I think you've just got to be honest and truthful, and be really, like, sure of the fact that you've made the right decision. Like, it's none of anyone else's business.
And confident in the fact that you are doing it alone, and
know that everyone's
happy.
Struggling.
Yeah.
In the first, however, or parenthood's just really tricky.
Yeah.
But it's equally really beautiful, and it's not because you're on your own.
The most rewarding 100%. Thing you can ever do.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
And all those cliches are true, but it's wonderful. It's the most rewarding thing in the world, and I'm thankfully really glad I did it. Otherwise, that'd be really awkward.
And you have a beautiful son.
I do. He's
at the
pretty
end
good.
of it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's rad.
Yeah, we get on.
He's a very cool dude.
Well, we get on sometimes.
Very cool dude.
Yeah, I like him. I'm going to keep him.
That's a good thing.
You okay?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Emma.
Hi, Herb.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay.
I hear that you would like to be an actor. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And then what do you want to be after you're an actor? A zookeeper.
Do you like animals?
Yeah.
What's your favourite?
Talk properly.
Hippo.
A hippo. Well, that's a pretty powerful animal, isn't
He's
it?
a big fan of a hippo.
Have you ever seen one?
And we're going to get a hippo, apparently. And what are we going to call it?
We're not going to get a hippo.
Oh.
Why are you not going to get
I
one?
know.
We're getting a fish.
Oh, well, they're very similar.
I negotiated down from a hippo to a fish called David, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good
fine, isn't it?
negotiations.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do you feel like you are kind of passing on strength to him? And in what ways do you encourage him to be strong in who he is?
I hope so. I hope that I make you feel like you can do anything. Yeah, that you can be whoever you want to be, and that if there are any problems, we can sort them out together.
Would you say your mum's your best friend?
Careful. Careful.
The right answer here, Herb, is yes.
Sorry, Herbert. Who's your best friend?
You.
Yes! Yay! Well done, kid.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember, beauty, power, strength, courage, confidence, they all come from within. We all deserve to feel strong in our skin. Bye-bye.